Oh, yeah.
It was a horrible creature, sir, with huge eyes, sir.
Hi, welcome back to the Drive-In Asylum double feature, and we hope you really enjoyed our first feature, Grave of the Vampire, one of the scariest vampire movies that I can think of. The only thing that comes close to it, in my opinion, is Salem's Lot, in terms of being really scary.
That's a strong statement.
I meant every word.
I actually have some questions for you guys about that movie.
Were you watching?
Yes, I was. No, I was. I was
like, what was going on?
And then I was talking to my dad.
What happened to the mother?
But, I was watching. I've seen it like 50 times. But what is goober dust? Is my first question.
I'm Googling. I'm going to Google that right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just assumed it was some kind of witchy thing. They were into that kind of thing. They had a black magic vibe in that class, that radical evening college course.
Also, my other question for you guys is, who was in love with who, and was there like some kind of partner swapping and fathers and mothers being into different people? You know what I mean? Like reincarnated mothers ending up with sons. There is no. It is a very 1972 Key Party vampire kind of thing that's going on in this.
Yes. I thought those people were there for a different party.
Yeah. I like her excuse. She's like, we just put on some records and some people showed up and now it's a whole thing.
Nobody brought ice.
Yeah.
So goober dust really exists.
And I also like it at the party, like
goober dust.
Goober dust. And then they just went upstairs and like while the party's going on, she's like, we're not 20 something and we're not playing the bongos downstairs anymore.
Party's over. I'll make you dinner. And she didn't cook that steak very well either. I mean, she kind of did a terrible job. Goober dust.
The best come on I've ever heard is like whenever she takes him into the room, she's like, "You want me to make you some spaghetti?"
Unkle Spooky, why don't you tell us what goober dust is?
Goober dust is a traditional hexing material and practice of the African American tradition of hoodoo. goo from the southeastern region of the United States of America. Goofer dust.
Well,
There's a whole
anything was fair
Wikipedia
game.
page on it.
Anything was fair game in that class. And
Use.
it makes me think of the Skeleton Key, starring wasn't Sarah Michelle Gellar in that?
No, it's the other one. It's Goldie Hawn's daughter.
Yeah, Kate Hudson.
Is that any good?
I dig it.
Is that any good, Becca? Skeleton?
I think it's a pretty good movie. Yeah.
Becca just refer to it as wonderful. So
Skeleton Key.
she apparently said it's a wonderful movie, and then went back to whatever she's doing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But not as good as Grave of the Vampire, which is one of my all-time
I
favorites.
liked it. Oh, Graveyard Dirt. Oh, recipes for making it vary, but primarily include graveyard dirt and snakeskin. So, you want to make your own goofer dust?
It's not like Goober Grape, which is peanut butter and jelly.
I know. It's not what I was thinking at all. I was like, cut me a line of that goofer dust.
Give me some of that goober dust on some wheat bread.
I heard people were rolling it up. They were mixing it in with their weed and smoking it, but then they started jumping off of buildings and stuff. So
Goofer dust. Oh.
Kind of like an episode of Dragnet.
yeah,
It's like something Stevie Nicks got blown up her butt before she went up on stage.
She was only allowed one cap full of goober dust a night.
Stand back.
Art Linkletter ranted against goofer dust.
He really.
Vince brings up that Dracula soil from Famous Monsters. That ad freaked me out so bad as a kid because it was always in creepy. And I was like, if I wear that necklace, Dracula's going to know where to. Oh, how I made this narrative jump, right? From like, it's just a necklace with dirt in it. The Dracula will know where to find me. Does Dracula have any interest in turning a 6-year-old fat child into his thrall? No, there's much better thralls to have.
You'd be perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
It could happen to any of us at any time. And this one, we were talking about it during the break while we were watching the movie. This had a lot of male vampire on guy action in it.
Like a lot. Like good 3 brutal deaths, too. The one where he cracked it over the... He was doing some damage.
Yeah. When he's with a guy, it has to be rough.
Yeah. It's a little more. But then he goes right for it, like ripping the shirt open and getting in there.
He's a lover with the ladies, but the guys, he just tears.
Guys, a little more. Take charge.
Two other things I want to bring up for you guys. One is, what was up with William Smith's gigantic white collar at that party? It wasn't even a collar. It was like
it was
bunny ears.
It's a life preserver.
Yeah.
The
style.
There was a little whistle in it, and if you pulled it, a flashlight came out before you jumped in the water.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was styling. It was like a moment in 1972, and they were like nailed it, like all the fashions, all like there was the ties, the suit jackets.
Oh, the ties were out of this world.
Oh yeah. And what's up with that wallpaper in the kitchen, Bill?
Oof.
The wrapping paper for wall behind the stove.
Don't get me started on wallpaper.
I saw that too.
Yeah, it was an experience unto itself, I have to say. Although I don't quite think this. Oh, we lost Uncle Spooky. I don't quite think it was a furniture movie.
Also, if you need to use steak to get blood out of, it seems like leaving it on the stove overnight is not like, maybe put it in the fridge.
Olga.
Don't
you all need an Olga?
No, the only Olga I know used to run a house in somewhere in Brooklyn, the House of Shame.
Oh yeah, that Olga. She was really mean.
Yeah, I know that you love that Olga.
I do love mean Olgas, but like Olga from Suspiria. I heard that names that begin with the letter S are the names of snakes.
She was. Where did she go in the second? After she was in it for like the first third, and then she's out of the movie, and she's missed.
That's what the next the movie Argento is making now is about.
Her youthfulness, she had outlived her usefulness, so she lived to serve.
So, all right, you know what I was noticing about this movie? All the non-surgeries involved in it. Like, these were like the real faces of people. Just, like all of it. Receding hairlines,
Yeah.
the no boobs. There's a lot of flat-chested happening. There was no heaving. Like, if this movie would have been made like 10 years later, that would have been all filled in.
Or 10 years before, if it was a Hammer movie, it would have been a lot more bodice ripping action in it.
There was a lot of like really.
You guys say that the one girl looked like Lauren Hutton a lot?
Yes, before the.
Oh yeah, I think Uncle Spooky even said that she had some.
It's funny because Becca didn't hear that, and right when Becca sat down watching it, she's like, "That girl looks a lot like Lauren Hutton." And I laughed because Uncle Spooky had
It's true. The only thing she was missing was that big gap between her teeth.
Yeah.
To make it a little more interesting.
She tried to be Mrs. Caleb Croft, but she failed.
She tried so hard. She was like, I read everything about you, and I know that you're this person and that person. She knew all his like Instagram handles.
she was stalking him from beyond the grave.
She's like, I've liked everything you've done.
I saw you on MySpace 20 years ago as this, and your favorite song was. She knew a lot about him.
She sure did. And it didn't work out, and he was like, yeah, sure, great. And then he just got the knife and like slit her throat.
She even tried to come back. She almost got back into his life too. From beyond
that
the
was
grave.
that was the only part in the movie where he was freaked out. He was like, I wasn't calling you. I was calling my ex-wife.
She turned the tables. I admire that.
That was pretty cool. She was like, no, here I am. I'm in the body you like. How do you like me now? And he still didn't like her.
Matt brought up some other good William Smith movies. Seven's a really good one, and I really like Run Angel Run, which is really good and like almost shot like it's very like pop art as a biker movie. If you guys want more William Smith,
I do. He was in 300 movies. It turns out, like he's been like just died last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed away last year.
He had a good run. He was in the Take This Job and Shove It. No, that's not it. It's a Clint Eastwood movie where they're punching each other. They had a big fight.
Yes. And every which way but loose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the one I was.
He's in a really bad slasher called Moon and Scorpio too, which was reshot a ton of times and kind of fell apart. But he's decent in it. He's in just a ton of stuff though. Like he's in all of the Rollerblade movies, like Legend of the Rollerblade 7, that the guy who made Hell Comes to Frogtown made, and he just always shows up in those movies. He made the guy made like 9 of those movies. He's also in Uncle Sam too, the
zombie one.
The zombie one, yeah.
I saw that. Is that good?
No.
I think
It's dedicated to Fulci, so that part I can't hate it completely, but.
Invasion of the B-Girls is the other movie he did that's one of my favorites.
William Smith?
Oh, yeah. He was in Invasion of the B-Girls.
Who did he play in that?
He was the investigator. He was the hero, if you will, who went up against Anitra Ford and unfortunately took her out just by firing a single bullet into her machine. In her B machine.
Sometimes that's all. It just takes one, Bill.
Falcon Eddie from Rich Man, Poor Man. Says Dara Rapabooty Boo.
Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, William Smith. What wasn't he in? Okay, so he was in the sequel to Every Which Way But Loose called Any Which Way You Can. So there we go.
Was he like starring in it?
I don't think he sang.
Starred.
Matt asked about The Sopranos. What did David Chase do between this and that? Well, he did Kolchak. He was a story editor on Kolchak. He wrote the Rockford Files and the show Northern Exposure. And he wrote a couple TV movies. And he created his own series, Almost Grown, in '88. So he did a ton of stuff in between doing The Sopranos. I just think it's really interesting that he's known for a family crime drama, and yet there's a lot of supernatural stuff in his in his career. He also wrote for the TV show The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, if anyone remembers that.
Claude Akins.
Claude Akins, yep.
Didn't get a lunchbox.
No.
Unfortunately.
I probably would have carried it to school, but he only did 3 movies. Grave of the Vampire, Not Fade Away, and then obviously The Many Saints of Newark that came out last year, the Sopranos prequel. But yeah, this is one of the first ones.
This is
someone else mentioned it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, Bill.
No, go ahead.
Someone else mentioned that this is a lot like the '79 movie Vampire with Richard Lynch. That's my favorite vampire TV movie. But
What?
I am the Vampire with Richard Lynch.
Is that where it's like?
79.
Which one is that one?
It's from '79. It's just really good. It seems like very much the same way. It's like a vampire in a modern setting in New York, and I'm anything with Richard Lynch in it though. So
Was that a TV series?
TV movie, yeah.
Just a one-off.
Not the cliffhanger.
Oh, I love the cliffhanger one.
That was Michael Norai.
Antoinette. I just remember
'79 was a big year for vampires. Between that and then, of course, the Frank Langella Dracula, which we've discussed. The first man that my mom ever said was more attractive than my father, which kind of creeped me out as a kid. But I think they got in a fight because my dad was talking about how attractive Margot Kidder was. And then my mom was like, well, yeah, Frank Langella was really attractive. And you know what? When you're a grown-up, you can be like, my parents were both probably right. So we can get past it, right?
David Chase claimed, at least I think in the promotional material for this movie, that suggested that David Chase wrote this script adapting one of his novels, which was titled The Still Life. But there's never been any copy of The Still Life that's surfaced. So who knows?
That's the book he wrote?
Yeah, he claimed that he wrote this book. I don't think that he really did write the book. I think what do you think, Sam?
It's an arty little title for the story.
I know you mentioned this in your review on BNS About Movies. Yeah,
that was one that someone else wrote. Yeah, but that David Chase wrote it and wrote a book and people couldn't find it. I can't remember who else. Who wrote that one?
Yeah, I wrote a book.
I wrote a review too, but there's the review that mentions the book was John Barry wrote that one.
Gotcha.
You know what I love about these vampire movies? There's always 2 chicks, at least 2 chicks. And like one girl is going to be like kind of the heroine that's going to make not even the heroine. She's just going to live at the end. Somebody's going to save her. And the other one's a little like, like a James Bond, like a little like the little, not super dirty, but a little,
the bad girl.
She's going to deserve her ending. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And she always gets it good. And they always have those 2 chicks.
Poor Anita. She got it good. I thought it was really unrealistic that she came home and got in the shower and didn't notice Anita's corpse lying there.
Yeah.
She had to turn around while she was naked. Oh, and she had a horrible scream, too. Every single time she screamed in this movie, she blew it. They really should have done. It was like the opening scene of Blowout, but for real.
Yeah.
But
you know what? I have gotten into the shower half awake, but 2 things. I've never had a shower in my life big enough to have another body in it.
Yeah.
Like that was a big ass shower. And I realize they're in college or wherever the fuck they are. It says someone mentioned, obviously, CCAC, because there's a lot of untraditional, like 40-year-old students in this college.
The most shocking scene about that shower scene was that turns out she wasn't wearing a wig the whole time. That was actually her real hair. It was like, oof.
The other thing,
it could have still been a wig.
You guys were a couple seconds ahead of me, and we're talking about the Ethel Merman-looking lady sitting in class behind William Smith. And then when it happened, I couldn't see anything else in the scene. I could only, like she really, like, they should have picked another extra because she dominates that scene.
She totally does. She's like the exact opposite of what you want from an extra that just loses. She was just like, she was totally working in the background. She was like trying to drag in the other guy, and the other guy was.
It really was Merman. You should have known because there was a glass of champagne next to her.
We got him. Unkle Spooky nudes. They're very blue.
Darren, you and I both. I think we're gonna have to go see what we can dig up on the internet of Unkle Spooky.
Oh, there's a good shot somewhere. I gotta tell you.
I think you had some gay.com nudes that you circulated back in 1990.
The time Uncle Spooky tried out for Mr. Fire Island.
I guess 1990 would be too early. It would have to be like 2000 era. I keep forgetting that 2000 was a long time ago.
Isn't that crazy? And the 80s still feel like yesterday.
So what else before we move on from Grave of the Vampire?
Any other notes? I hate slit throats, and I feel like they went for the throats a lot this movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to mention. There is a version of this movie that has slightly more graphic kill scenes in it. It only came out on VHS in Germany. And apparently, like, this footage that was cut from the film is now lost. So the only way, Scream Factory put out a great Blu-ray of Grave of the Vampire. In fact, the rip that was on YouTube is almost definitely the Scream Factory rip. So go out and buy the Scream Factory Blu-ray if you can find it. It's got those extra scenes on it, and they're a little bit more gruesome. I mean, the violence in this movie, I said this before, I don't know if you guys feel the same way now after having watched it. Don't you think it was a little over the top?
I was just going to bring that up. The fight at the end with he gets set on fire and gets up and he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And his jacket's like all over the place and he just keeps on fighting. Usually someone getting set on fire is the end of a fight.
Yeah.
That's just the beginning.
That was only the beginning. Yeah. It didn't even singe his hair.
No, they weren't. They was going for the hair. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, protect the hair.
I can admit that his hair is great in this movie.
Oh yeah.
That ending of him coming up the stairs with that stare, and just when you like it kind of go dark, and the only thing you can see was his fangs coming through.
You mentioned too when we were watching this, the fangs are great in this. This is probably the best vampire fangs I've seen because they're not just like two pointed ones. Every tooth is horrifying.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a mouthful of fangs. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I wanted somebody in the evening course to notice that he had lots of sharp teeth.
Yeah, and this isn't a complaint about the violence. I love the fight at the end, and I love all of it.
We're never complaining about how gruesome a movie is,
right? I needed the...
What was that class? Like what? Like it's like hey, we're gonna have a night. Like first off, if I'm worried about vampires enough to take a class, I will only take a day class on vampires. I will not take a night class because a night class on vampires seems like a good excuse for vampires to hide outside and kill everybody in the class because they've learned too much about them. So I think, first off, that's wrong. A vampire teaching a class on vampires, that's the kind of life experience that you get at the Learning Annex, I think, or like a really great place. It's like a mentorship kind of thing.
It's a vampire trying to make a living.
He's been dead 3 years.
Yeah, I would really love to. There was such a diverse class too of older people.
This old lady's like, I heard that I could take a credit for $21. Like, what class are you going to take, Ethel? Vampirism of the 1700s.
Spooky shit.
I want to learn how to make goober dust, and this class seems to be the way to go.
Count Yorga fangs. Gotta watch some. Have you done a Count Yorga on this show yet?
We have not, and this does have a lot of Count Yorga vibes in it, especially when he has that cape on, which that was quite understated. I mean, if you're trying to disguise the fact that you're a vampire, it's probably not a good idea to walk around in a cape.
I have a small clutter problem, and I have 8 capes hanging in a closet.
That's all?
Just in that closet.
Oh.
So, it's that closet. So let me know if you need one. Available.
Is it like a Batman thing where you have like a cape for certain, like, you know what I mean? Like Batman has like a suit just for fire.
It's like a cape for every occasion that I'm never in, like a big Little Red Riding Hood cape. I got like a devil worshiper cape. I got a Scream cape. I got a vampire cape with a little collar. I got a Batman cape. Got a lot of capes. I
had a cape when I was a young monster kid. I used to actually wear a cape. That's how nerdy I was. You know, when I was like, maybe 10, 11, maybe a little too old to be wearing something like that. But Jim Drummond will tell you, we were friends when we were kids. He's in the chat. I saw him in there somewhere. So yeah, it was a little bit the cape was a little over the top. I loved how misty and spooky everything was in this movie. I mean, especially that opening scene. You don't even see the vampire at first, but it's just like this lingering shot of a cemetery with lots of mist and everything. It's got the old Universal monster movie vibes.
You know what my other favorite scene was, Bill? Whenever he was trying to get that book out of the library and the girl put her hair down and she's like combing her hair like while she's at work. And she's like, I used to be a photographer's model. Like just out of like, okay. And he's like, well, can I get that fucking book? And she's like, no, you can't get the book. He goes, then finally he reacted like I did. Like, what? I don't want you. I have no interest in you. I just want the fucking book. And then that's why he did what he did. I think he was justified.
It was the book he was looking for. The book that the other girl had at her house that she was showing the guy.
If that book was so important, how did she get it?
Right.
Yeah, she knew a lot. I mean, she was really well connected.
And I look, let's go in this little hallway and sit on the floor.
In the little alcove of my little college apartment.
To the bathroom.
There was a kid in my grandfather's neighborhood that wore a cape, Bill, and he tried to bite me as a kid, and my grandfather did not react well to
it. I was told as a child that I was a really good vampire.
Oh, really?
Playing in the graveyard.
They weren't kidding.
I
hissed a lot when they went like this.
I think the guidance counselor said to you in school, like, you know what you'd be good at someday.
I was like, really?
Yeah. You'd be a great vampire.
You think so?
Yeah. It's like when I told my guidance counselor I wanted to be Tom Savini, and he was like, oh, I don't know if there's any future in that.
I wrote him a fan letter.
He was right.
A gushing fan letter.
He was right.
Yeah, the guidance counselor was like, someday CGI will exist, so you probably shouldn't get into that. There's not many people that will do it. So anyway, Blood Beats Terror, right?
Yeah, vampires are our theme of the evening, and our second movie tonight is another vampire feature, although not the kind of vampire that you're probably used to, the Blood Beast Terror, which is about a killer giant blood-sucking moth.
My favorite thing about this movie is when Peter Cushing first appears, he thinks a giant eagle is killing people. Not like that's his hypothesis when it starts, not the grocery store. But he believes that, you know what? It has to be a giant eagle. What else could it be doing?
Giant eagle.
Is this a Hammer movie?
It is a Tigon movie. Is that how you say it, Bill? Did I say it completely wrong?
It's how you say it.
Thank you, everybody. I did it again. We should have a little graphic come up every time I mispronounce something.
Tigon. What's that?
Oh, they were a rival of Hammer films.
Oh, really?
There's Hammer, there's Amicus, and there's Tigon.
Okay.
Tigon made Witchfinder General, Curse of the Crimson Altar, Blood on Satan's Claw. They made some really good ones, actually.
They did all right.
Yeah.
They liked the period piece.
Yeah.
They were all about it.
Yeah.
I think Fear in the Night was the first Hammer film that was set in modern times, I believe. Someone can prove me wrong, or maybe it was Dracula AD 1972.
The other interesting thing about this, Bill, is this is another movie where men are getting killed by a vampire instead of women. Somehow we locked onto another theme, I think.
Well, the vampire in this movie, I guess I shouldn't spoil it.
Yeah.
But okay, I already put my foot in it. It might not be a guy, okay?
Yeah.
It might be really obvious. Sorry, Uncle Spooky, and anyone else who hasn't.
Spoiler warning for a movie that came
out in 1967. But you guys were professionals.
Oh yeah, we're totally professional on this show.
Oh, you make another drink, or we just drink our own?
Oh, I'm making another one. Don't you worry.
Sam's gonna make another one. Sure.
Yeah. Bill, this played on. I'm sure you'll show it in a bit. But this played a lot with Slaughter of the Vampires. That was its double feature. I don't know if you found any of those.
Curse of the Blood Ghouls. That was the U.S. title for the movie that it played with. Well, I guess this is a good cue to go to the ad gallery.
Let us go.
Should it be? Okay.
Yes, it should.
Hit it.
Yes, it should.
So yeah, like Sam said, Tygon also put out Witchfinder General, and that is the first co-feature that this movie had. They were a double bill in the UK. Here it is in Coventry, West Midlands in England. The same ad campaign, though, for Witchfinder General and Blood Beast Terror. It only had that title in the UK. By the time it came to the United States, there was a more sensational title, The Vampire Beast Craves Blood. And
I love
here's
that.
a piece from September 68. They announced that it was coming. It didn't actually get here until June 69, and Boston was one of the places it got it first. It had a really long rollout over like 69, 70, and even into 71. This played a lot of theaters. So yeah, maybe even a little bit of a spoiler in the ad campaign there. The U.S. trailer totally is spoilerific, which is why I had a special trailer cut for tonight's program, courtesy of Mike Justice. He's the one who did that trailer that was in the opening segment. Anyway, I really like the U.S. title, The Vampire Beast Craves Blood, because it's not really a vampire, so we can't have false advertising. We have to call it a vampire beast. I don't know.
Is it a vampire or a weremoth?
It's a moth woman. It didn't play New York City till March of 1970, and here it is.
What a play!
It kept that Curse of the Blood Ghouls with it, aka Slaughter of the Vampires. And some really gruesome artwork for both of these features. I would have been there in a heartbeat.
I'm wondering, with the blood name, did this play as anything different in like Boston or those areas where they weren't allowed to say blood?
I think a couple of places they blotted out the word blood. Here's a fun lineup from 72 with our main two movies, and then Bloody Pit of Horror. Look, they blocked out Bloody in this ad, and Terror Creatures from the Grave. Babs Steele herself in that one. So there you go.
What a night.
That is most of the theatrical run of our second feature tonight, The Blood Beast Terror.
What do you like about this one so much?
It's real weird. It's got a weremoth in it. I don't know any other movies that have a female moth, creature, vampire.
Are we gonna get a turning scene, like a transformation scene?
Oh, don't get your hopes up, Uncle Spooky. This isn't a top-notch production, okay?
No,
like
Mike said it before. Like a lot of the studio's films are very.
They cut corners.
Interesting. Yeah, and Matt on the chat brought up. Has anyone seen the Stuart Whitman Hammer Shaw Brothers collaboration Shatter? Is that movie? And yeah, I have. There was supposed to be a sequel to it. It's not bad. Anywho, should I make another drink, Bill?
I think I'm ready, and I know everyone else must be too.
This is the Not So Bloody Mary, because this isn't really kind of sort of a vampire movie, right?
And carrot juice.
Carrot juice, yeah. This is going to start with. We're going to do this one in a shaker, and we're going to do 3 ounces of carrot juice to start. You know what? If you're ever looking for carrot juice, Target's the place to go. Not selling Target, but if you have a Target around you, they usually have it.
You got to keep that in the fridge?
Yeah.
How long does it last?
About a month.
Okay.
It's an acquired taste, which means it doesn't taste great, but I like it. I've always liked carrot juice for some weird reason.
Looks
thank you
thick.
for it is thick, and it's funny when you taste it, you'll recognize the taste of it from V8 because it's part of the taste of V8 is the carrot.
Right.
So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do 1.5 ounces of vodka.
Sounds right.
Make it 2.
You want to do 2?
Guzzle, guzzle.
2, Bill?
Second movie.
Sounds like a bad influence for somebody with acid reflux, but
Oh, the bloody bunny man.
Don't listen to me.
But when in Rome, right? We're gonna do a little bit of honey. A bit of honey. The band.
Little bear. Bear honey.
Yeah,
How about a little
bear
seed
honey,
of terror?
a little seed, yeah,
A
and then a little bit of lemon.
little bit of lemon.
A little bit of lemon. All right. Now, can I redeem myself by not screwing this one up?
I'm really hoping that something like that happens.
I'm rooting for failure.
Becca said from now on I have to do these in the yard. It is like 5 degrees and snow and ice right now.
That sounds like a backdrop too.
I love that
Right.
dance.
I know.
Oh. And then drop in $3, baby, with your drink.
Oh,
$3.
I can't get through a day without a doll.
Ugh.
I need dolls to wake up, dolls to sleep.
Ugh.
Please, Lion.
Amelia O'Hara. Love that shirt. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
Oh, you're preaching to the choir.
has there
Uncle
ever been a
Spooky.
better movie?
Every second.
Oh. It's like my test. Like if people come to the house and want to watch a movie, and they're like, I didn't really like it. I'm like, you're never going to get to watch another movie in the house again. That's it. You're done. That movie's everything, right?
It really is.
Oh. All right. Well, that's how you make it. That can be.
Nice. So it looks good. Should we all cheer to it?
Yes,
Yeah.
cheers.
It's a carrot juice and a cocktail. Clink.
Damn, is that exquisite?
Delicious.
Did you make the carrot juice, Bill?
Oh, yes.
Did you like
And
it?
if you believe that. No, I couldn't round up all those ingredients, so I just sort of winged it with my own little.
That's the good part about going to the drive-in in April. You don't even have to have the ingredients. I just magically show up with a thermos filled with booze.
Sam.
Really selling this driving. I think I want to go so bad.
Yeah. Someone said last time that I think it was Mark. He's like, these drinks are really strong. And I was like, yeah, they are. I'm an alcoholic.
What's the weather like in April there? Is everybody like cuddled in their car or is it a little more hangouty?
It depends.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get at April Ghouls.
April Ghouls.
Yeah.
Usually you can sit outside for the one in September, but for April, you might be able to, you might not. So you have to be.
If only there was a blanket that had come out that you could bring to the movies with you.
So
Yeah.
if you stay at the hotel and he was like, you can walk to the theater. Yeah. Where would you
No.
go?
You can't
Still
walk
driving.
anywhere in Vandergrift where this takes place.
Yeah.
Vander.
It is in the sticks.
I love the name. Vander.
Vandergrift,
Slips.
right next to Leechburg.
Leechburg. Ooh.
Apollo.
I have to drive through that Leechburg.
It's on Astronaut Way. That's my favorite thing. Like that one road's Astronaut Way.
Ooh, that sounds cool. I'm getting excited for this.
So,
This makes me feel like I'm being healthy.
Aw.
It's had some kind of this little bit of healthiness.
you're not, but we don't encourage that here
Health.
on this program. So you fit right in. I really love your Beyond the Valley of the Doll shirt too. I meant to mention that as well.
Oh, thank you.
I still want to mark shirts tonight from my Fright Factory
Nice.
thing maker.
I like that.
I love that. Hey, if anyone has the Valley of the Dolls Criterion one, Pittsburgh artist Jim Rugg did the art, and he's an awesome comic book artist.
Oh,
And,
thank you, Roger.
I forgot to bring that up. Yes.
The raves are pouring in.
Yeah, I don't know. I cut my hair today, and I kind of felt like I took too much off, so I almost went all the way and just did a complete shaved head. And I left a little for all of you. So maybe next time you see me, I'll probably be completely bald.
I don't think I've ever seen you completely bald.
Sure you have.
Have I?
I shave my head all the time. I mean, I think
But I don't know if I've seen it completely bald. I've seen it with just little like you are now.
I've been bald on the program, but I used to wear that hat because I had like a thing on my forehead, like a breakout on my forehead that wouldn't go away for like months and months and months. So I would wear a hat. I was a little self-conscious.
Was it behind the curtains of the Drive-In Asylum double feature? Why were things happening?
That was a long time ago. We've been doing this show. We're already on our 77th episode.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a letterbox list to break down the eps too if you want to go back and get drink recipes.
That's right. Yeah, Sam keeps it up to date on Letterboxd, so you can go check it out.
Yeah,
Letterboxd.
There's all the links. I'll post it on my Facebook and
please do Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Ebron. How about that?
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. This internet thing, it's crazy. This story is the craziest, though.
Yeah. Wow. Mike Justice. That takes the cake. John Lazar is really nice. John Lazar is one of the only film personalities who actually friended me first on Facebook. I was like, could that really be the John Lazar? But I guess I probably had in my profile that I like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. He's a really nice guy.
I didn't see. I had heard the Misfits song TV Casualty before I'd seen Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, and they mentioned "The Man Scrambling Out Your Brains" as one of the lyrics in it. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's what the Misfits were singing about. They probably sang about Blood Beast and all these other movies, too. It feels like sometimes we're in the same wavelength. I also sent Bill this week. They actually were horror hosts, Jerry Only, and hosted like 10 movies on New Jersey cable. And someone has bootlegged them and put them out on Blu-ray. So I might be getting those. I'm super jazzed about that.
Do you remember that local Pittsburgh band called the Kelly Affair?
Yeah.
I never knew what that meant either until I saw Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I was there.
What's funny is what's crazy is I was listening to a XXP playlist this week, Bill, and it was like all, like new wave bands and like, British bands.
Yeah.
And then the Cynics were on it, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Local Pittsburgh.
Local Pittsburgh.
I know these guys that throw a party called the Carry.
The Carry Nations.
It's a great title. And that was that a blueprint for Josie and the Pussycats?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It should have been if it wasn't. There already was an all-female rock band. They were called Fanny, and they were already together for a couple of years by the time Beyond the Valley of the Dolls came out. But other than
there was the GTOs too, right? The Girls Together Outrageously was another one.
Right, yeah, but I forget what year they formed. They were one of the first.
It's literally like, yeah, there's a disagreement of like who gets closer.
And we're not talking about girl groups who were like the vocalists. We're talking about a rock band that was all female, just like the Carrie Nation.
This is like years before the Runaways, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was long before the Runaways. Although they're a great example. Love the Runaways.
Yeah. Marsha McBroom. Oops, sorry.
Oh, Marsha McBroom, I love her.
I met her. I met her a couple of this woman I used to work with had these Super Bowl parties, and her friend was married to Marsha, and I got to sit next to her a couple of times, and I was like, oh my God. And she was like a born again Christian, and she was like just kind of like didn't want to part of her life, and I was like, do you know, like you're like a like wait,
she wouldn't talk to you about it?
She did a little bit, but she was like not like, I don't know if I was asking the right questions or but she didn't. She was totally downplaying it, like it was like not a big thing. Like she wanted to talk more about like Christ.
What a drag!
I know. I was like, oh, I got so much good stories locked in there.
We've heard it all before, Marsha. Talk about Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. So the vampire beast craves blood. We are supposed to be talking about that.
I'm excited though, because the thing I like about this movie is like it's like anytime inept detectives try to figure out a monster and fail miserably till right before we got 2 minutes left, we got to catch him. I kind of like this is a movie that would play on Superhost or Chiller Theater, and I just I didn't know it was coming on, and it feels like something that I would watch. Like it's like a good blanket movie, right? Like you just like pull a blanket up, like if you just enjoy it, just lay back and just dig it. Right? Like I was thinking about that the other day. Like the best feeling is like when you have a Sunday with nothing to do, you don't know what's coming up next on TV, and you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna just roll through it. Let's see what I watch and do it. I did that the other day. I watched Missing in Action 2 and Invasion USA, and I am in no way feel that I wasted my day. I feel as if it was probably the best day I've had in 10 years. And just lay there in my easy chair with a blanket and a beer, and it was like, this is living.
That's what you work for. You work to have a house, to have that chair, to have that TV for that moment.
100%. That if heaven is a thing, who knows? But if heaven is a thing, it's just me. It's like someone be like, hey, you want to watch a Blood Beast Terror and have a beer and sit in your lazy boy? Yes.
Boom.
100%. Give me my Driving Asylum blanket.
Heaven is a thing, and it's now, and you can watch the Blood Beast Terror right now. So now is the time.
I'm trying to give you an ecstatic religious experience without the stigmata, and with this movie.
This is our new issue of our print fanzine. It's going to be on sale probably tomorrow on the Groovy Doom Etsy shop. And you can follow. I'll be posting all over Facebook about it, so no worries. Our main feature is Pat Carty from Horror High. We finally got Vernon in print. A lot of you probably saw him on the show here. So we got that feature, and we also have a great interview with Christine DeBelle, who was from Meatballs. And she did The Big Brawl with Jackie Chan. That was one of the titles, The Big Brawl. What was the other one?
I can't remember what the other one is.
It was this.
It's something like.
It was his first American movie.
Yeah.
Rigor wrote a great retrospective of Dr. Phibes, and Sam wrote a great Nightmare Theater package article. All the movies in the package are run down in your article. It's great. I
got a chance to talk about Marissa Mel. Am I going to pass that up now?
And I forgot to mention that Sean Midas is in the new issue as well. It's his very first piece in the magazine. So great to have you on board, awesome. Sean Midas. I hope you're still out there in the chat somewhere. Sorry, I can see the chat, but the screen is pretty far away from me, so I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, my last thing that I wanted to bring up about the last movie we watched, it kind of had the whenever there was like the flashback sequences, it kind of had the romper room, like I'm looking at these kids kind of music as before before they did the flashbacks. They had like very Sesame Street-y kind of sound design.
Yes.
And also the Pat Carty video you posted this week, which is edited to the best parts of your interview with him, is on YouTube, and it's awesome. I watched it this week, and I loved it.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. It's really kind of annoying that you weren't on that show.
Well, I was in Seattle inside the Overlook, so that's where I was getting chased by my mother-in-law with an axe.
We lost Bill. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
I don't know why that happens every once in a while. Dustin was on that show, and I put him in the credits and you in the credits too, even though I didn't actually use any of the second segment moments in that video. So sorry, Dustin. I just wanted it just to be the Pat Carty stuff for brevity. But I put all of you in the credits, and I really hope to do more things like that. I'm going to get the Tony Lawrence episode edited together, and I still got to get the Linda Gillen episode edited together. Remember, we did that in 2020. So that didn't even count as a 2021 highlight. That was all the way back in 2020.
Yeah.
Dream moment having Linda Gillen on the program talking about Paul, one of your favorite movie, or Unkle Spooky, one of your favorite movies where they had a rack of ribs on the dinner table, and it was obviously belonged to one of their friends.
And that's Murder Mansion?
Terror House.
Terror House. I keep writing it down. Terror House.
Terror
Where's
House.
it available on?
AKA the folks at Red Wolf Inn. Look it up on YouTube because it's a public domain film right now. And our friend Terry Tom uploaded a rip of the Australian video cassette, which has 2 extra scenes in it. So the complete version. The version that's like knocking around on all those budget discs, that it's still okay, but it's the edited version. I'm not sure why they cut it, but probably just for time, because there were like 3 movies on the bill. So check out the extended version; it's worth it.
Yeah, if I watch it and the rib scene's not in there, I'd be very upset.
Oh, the rib scene's in it. No matter what, you're going to get ribs.
I like ribs that look like the giant, like caperish rib that have like the little tops on the end on the meat. Like I don't know what those
So
are.
you hold them, no? Or chef hats?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's how like cartoonists draw ribs. Like whenever ribs show up in a Bugs Bunny cartoon, that's how ribs look. They don't look like any ribs you get. Or they look like Fred Flintstone.
That's what I was thinking, Fred Flintstone, yeah.
I was obsessed with the end of the Flintstones when they go to the drive-in and the car falls over. Like, just what is going on? Like, what an aside, like after the episode ends cleanly. Uncle Spooky, I love that mug, by the way. That you're
there was 2 of them, and I shouldn't tell this story. I got it at a Halloween store.
You should tell.
It looks like Just Franco.
No, I went to this Halloween store. Well, it closed down, so I feel like I helped. Never mind. So this place, I was go there. So Uncle Spooky does a bingo. I don't know if you're aware, and winners get to stick their hand in my basket of secrets.
Ooh.
And, yeah. So I got to fill the basket. That's the problem. So I got to go to all these little prank stores and doll stores and try to find some fun stuff, some cheap stuff. And I would go to this Halloween store that just closed down. It was it's huge. It was in New York. It was like kind of around the corner from around the corner from Forbidden Planet. And so I would go there, and they had all these dollar stuff, like $2 stuff. And then in the basement, they would kind of have like a discount thing. Basket of Secrets code, sure is. And I went down there, and they had this cup, just this one cup and this other cup. And I was like, and I think it was like they wanted like $15 for this cup. And I was like, nobody was around. And I pulled off a price tag from a cheap thing.
Oh, Uncle Spooky.
And the proof of it is, here's the price tag.
That is dastardly. I think I saw that in Serial Mom, and someone got in big trouble for that.
I know, and I'm like, and the only thing I regret was not getting the brother cup. So if I could have got it all, I don't know, another little sticker up another thing in time, I would have done it.
My glass this evening is this Fu Manchu type thing that
Very
I got
cool.
at the junk store. It might be a vase. I don't know.
Does it hold a lot of drink?
It holds enough, yeah. I'm starting to.
There's such a fine line between vase and tiki mug. You can do whatever you want.
It really is.
Yeah. If you got an orchid to put in there, fine. Otherwise, you can mix your cocktail.
That seems like the kind of thing I would do. Like I'd call you back, look at this great cup I got. And you'd be like, Sam, you're drinking out of a fucking vase.
Lynn Hatcher, you're in the new issue too. Lynn did a great illustration of the Horror High cast. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Is Horror High the one with Caroline?
No, you're thinking of Return to Horror High, which featured George Clooney and a couple other people who went on to bigger and better things.
You sure?
I don't know what Caroline.
Caroline, I can't think of it. She was she was in Maniac. Who's the chicken Maniac?
Caroline Monroe.
Yeah, she's like older in this.
Oh, you're Slaughter High is what you're thinking.
Slaughter High.
The Slaughter High's plot is somewhat similar to Horror High, maybe a little.
No, it's not.
Well, it's nerds. No, it's nerds getting revenge.
Horror. Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, you're right. I take that back. You could be right. Horror High is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde riff. Uncle Spooky from 1973. There's a young kid who invents a serum and turns into a monster whenever he drinks it. So That's horror high. Yeah.
Slaughterhouse is more of a straight up slasher reunion-y.
You ever play that one yet?
And Carol Monroe's like 35 in it, and yet she's recently got out of high school.
I think we did do Slaughter High on one of the shows, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Have you done Horror High yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did Horror High, and Pat Carty, the star of the movie, was on the show. It was back in October. Yeah, that's the video we were talking about earlier. I uploaded an edit of that episode with just the Pat Carty stuff in it. It's exciting because Vinegar Syndrome is finally going to put out Horror High on Blu-ray. I'm not sure what the release date is or what it's looking like rather, but another thing that's coming out is I think you can already pre-order it. Alligator is coming out on Blu-ray from Scream Factory, and that's exciting.
And so Sword and the Sorcerer too.
I did an ad gallery for the Alligator Blu-ray, so go pre-order it, and you can see some Drive-In Asylum on the new Scream Factory.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell you why those two movies are coming out from Shot Factory?
No, why?
There was a guy that owned a watch company that bought a lot of movie rights just to have them as an investment, and then he just sat on them for years and wouldn't allow them to be released, and he died like about 6 months ago. So then his family just was like, I don't want to sit on these rights anymore. So they were looking for someone to sell. I read a really great article on Twitter today about how many movies are completely lost because there's these holding companies that just have them. And it's almost like they're not even the kind of companies that deal with movies. You know what I mean? They were like investment firms. Somehow they got them. And to them, it's more trouble than it's worth to even release the movie or go through the motions when companies will pretty much do everything. That's why like Alan Arkish's movie Get Crazy wasn't going to come out for the longest time because MGM's like, it's so much work. Like we really don't. And Kino was like, we'll do all the work. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just give us the rights. And it took years to even convince them. So a lot of these companies, they might be like, shell companies that were created to produce these movies. And as they get sold, people like there may have been 3 companies handling a movie. Like one company to do theatrical, one to do VHS or DVD, one to do cable. And then when all 3 of those companies go out of business, who owns the rights to them? So that's how the Sword and Sorcerer and Alligator ended up at there. Yeah. The farmer deal is the guy has the rights to the farmer is super strict about him, and it took forever.
I love your Stella Stevens picture, John.
We lost you there for a second, Sam.
Sorry, she is in a movie with William Smith too. The one that's in Seattle, Scorchy. She's in it with and that's the movie where they try to make Stella Stevens like kind of a little rougher. You know what I mean? Like she's like kind of like there's some saucy dialogue in that movie, and a lot of Seattle, and a lot of like hot rods in Seattle. It's not good, but it's great. That's
saucy. I love saucy.
I like saucy.
Well, she says to her, she has a really old boss, and like she's like, you know what you need? We lost Uncle Spooky.
That's what happened to you a second ago.
She tells him what she needs, and it's very saucy, and it's shocking to hear Stella Stevens say that. Like, how dare you, sir? Or ma'am.
I watched sorry.
Go ahead.
No, somebody. I was just about to hijack the subject completely, so I'm.
Well, Vince mentioned that the farmer was on YouTube for like half a second, and then whoever owns the rights was like heavily policing it, and no wonder because it was only a few days after that we found out that it's actually coming out on Blu-ray. So yeah, I'd be pissed too if it finally made it to YouTube and my Blu-ray was just about to come up. But anyway, go ahead. Hijack away, Uncle Spooky.
Oh, somebody was talking about Poseidon Adventure for New Year's.
Yeah.
I watched that this year too, and I have it timed up so that the New Year's on the boat happens the exact same time. If you put it in at like 27 minutes right before, you can even time up the countdown, so it's perfect.
Did you figure that out yourself, or did you see it online?
Somebody
I'm very familiar with figured it out.
Ah.
But I should put it online, right? It's totally something to know. Like you start at like 35 or 34 or something like that. 11:34. Boom. Lines up nice.
It's like syncing up Pink Floyd and The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I have a Dr. Butcher bootleg VHS that I've been dying to play. But I'm like just waiting for that moment to have guests over to play it, and hasn't happened. So if you're in New York, give me a holler. Anybody? Or we could all wait to see it at the drive-in April.
Well, anything else we should talk about before we go to our second feature, The Blood Beast Terror?
Just one thing. It looks like Vince is bringing up how many movies he got at Dollar Tree. If you haven't gone to Dollar Tree, you probably should, because there's a lot of good horror movies for. It's not Dollar Tree anymore. It's $1.25 tree now, which seems like a mouthful.
It adds up.
Yeah.
So
Sure does.
Yeah, but I got a lot. Well, you'll see in the next segment. I may have got something super cool that I've been looking for a while.
Got it from Dollar Tree?
Yeah, I was super, and you're going to be very excited because it has one of your favorite actors on the cover.
Aldo Ray.
No, close.
Not Aldo Ray?
No, do you want me to just show it now? Or
Well, yeah, now that you've talked it up, I want to see it.
Oh.
It better be Telly Savalas.
satisfaction.
It is Telly Savalas. It's a 10
Ooh.
called Mob Boss, and it's all Italian gangster movies. It's got, look how old I am. I'm going to take my glasses off. Mr. Scarface, Poppin' Blue Jeans, the Bruno Corbucci movie. The Master Touch, Crime Boss by Alberto De Martino. Castellari's Street Law, and Revolver. And it's got Telly Savalas, Kirk Douglas, Franco Nero, and Jack Palance.
Franco Nero.
Look at that set, and it's in a 10. Man.
It's on a 25 spot.
I reacted to this like when Indiana Jones finds that when he's kind of like trying to put the bag of sand in and taking the idol off it, knowing that ball's coming. That's what I was like. I was like, what is this magical thing? And I took it. I was like, and I ran as hard as I could to the front of the store.
Eurocrime gems.
And I'm checking out, and I said to the lady, can you believe you guys have this? She's like, I don't care. I work in a dollar store.
You ran to the front of the store like someone was going to be like, wait, no, you can't buy that.
Yeah. Alberto De Martino's grandson was like, the rates aren't available for that one. Please, no.
We just got a recall on those.
Yeah. I was like, oh, no. But yeah, I can't believe it. And this is the best part, though. Like I said, seeing the face of Telly, this is all I saw. Like, there were tapes on top of it, and I saw that, and I was like, well, obviously, that's Telly Savalas. And
that's got to be from Lisa and the Devil.
Oh, I know. Oh,
Wow, camera 10.
$1.25, and it's in a 10.
Wow.
Wow. We're gonna do another
Dollar Tree.
I
So is that in the bin? Is that just in a bin that you got to go fish through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see those bins. I got to go fishing, huh? That's the chicken.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I got this. I got a lot of good Shudder movies. I think I told last week, One Cut of the Dead for $1.25. What a deal.
What'd you get?
One Cut of the Dead, the Japanese zombie movie, which is real good. So, yeah.
See, there's never anything like that when I go to the Dollar Tree. It's all just, like Hallmark Channel movies on Blu-ray. Or
they also had that same company did a set of Gialli. I'll say it right for you, Bill. They did like 6 of them.
Almost right.
You know what?
I pronounce it totally different, so don't worry. I think
anyway, they put out like 6 of those, and they got sued because they didn't have the rights to put out any of the movies. Because that was the only way for a long time. They put out a comp that had Death Laid an Egg on it, and that was the only way to get it on DVD for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I got it. I didn't get it at a Dollar Tree. I got it at like an exchange. But there was a lot. They did those, and they have a couple Slasher Classics ones that they did. And they have the same look where they just say like the name and then pictures. Almost same layout. But they did like 4 of those and then like 2 Slasher Classic ones. And
Slasher, oh my god.
That's your language.
Stuff like what's the movie? Oh man, like
Just Before Dawn,
like Silent Night, Deadly Night, like those kind of like a lot of public domain slasher stuff. But
Silent Dream.
Yeah, but still worth it for a couple bucks.
Totally. I'm in.
All right. So we should go to our second feature, The Blood Beast Terror. And as you all know by now, we don't watch the movies here. There's a link on Groovy Doom. It's one of the last posts back there. The Blood Beast Terror is on YouTube as well, so you can watch it without any commercials. And then come back afterwards with me, Sam, and Uncle Spooky. We'll talk some more, and we'll be totally drunk by then. So who knows what we'll end up saying.
Carrot juice. Ugh.